Welcome back to Eco Solutions. Now, much of today's technology is aimed at making things more efficient. From light bulbs to computers, new designs strive to get more out of our gadgets for less energy. Now, our next story takes us to Canada, where a project is helping lower-income families save money and the environment.
In the first week of this year, Toronto was slammed by a snowstorm. Temperatures veered as low as -18 degrees Celsius or 0 Fahrenheit. This is the city just days later at an uncharacteristic high of 15 degrees Celsius or 59 Fahrenheit. These dramatic temperature swings can be particularly hard on low-income families who often live in poorly constructed housing, unable to cope with Canadian climate extremes. The Energy Green Box hopes to help. It contains a number of tools aimed at saving energy and money. The box includes window film for insulation, weather stripping to keep drafts out, and energy-efficient light bulbs.
We've developed this program to help people who are low income deal with what we see as climate impact on them. So in this case, the unpredictability of energy costs, whether they're heating or cooling, is going to rise because of changing climate.
Friends of the Earth Canada, co-creators of the project, first started handing out these kits to low-income families last year. This winter, organizers plan to distribute more than 25,000 kits.
So what we're looking for here is something that gives an equal chance, an equal opportunity to people at the lower level of incomes to do their bit for the environment.
At this center, food is provided to those who can't afford it. The green boxes will be handed out to these families who are often faced with the difficult decision of spending their money on food or energy.
They don't know from day to day, week to week, whether their energy heating bill is going to be high or low. So what this does is this provides a tool or a resource for them to be able to reduce their energy costs. And because so many people have to make that terrible choice, families will look at the thermostat and they're going to look at the fridge and they will say, what do I do? Do I feed my children or do I try to heat my home?
This ad by housing charity Habitat for Humanity echoes the severity of the situation.
We're part of that process of change on two fronts. You can fight climate change and you can fight hunger at the same time. And that's pretty fantastic, we think.
Response has been positive, with organizers planning new additions for the kits next year. With so much talk of scarcity in terms of food and finances, what there is an abundance of is will and need. Eunice Yoon, CNN, Hong Kong.
With so many companies branding their products as green or eco-friendly, it's hard for us consumers to tell what's actually making a difference on the environment. Well, I recently spoke with Edward Chan of Greenpeace Hong Kong to help make sense of it all. So how did you evaluate the companies for your greener electronics guide?
We basically evaluate them with two main sets of ideas, criteria. The first set is about their chemical policies. Are they going to phase out the use of toxic chemicals? Another group of criteria will be the recycling policies, because we found a lot of used chemicals being dumped in, used computers being dumped in developing countries. So we want them to take them back. And we're also going to develop a criteria on the energy usage.
Why do this guide? Did you want to name and shame companies?
Yes, of course, because we think that the company should be held responsible for the problems. So that's why we want to name and shame them.
And the companies, they got to be reacting. What have you heard from them?
Well, we first launched this guide in August of 2006, and since then we've witnessed a great change in the industry. And for example, some big names like Apple, like Samsung or Nokia, they have been committed to phase out the use of toxic chemicals. And like companies like Lenovo, they've launched a global recycling program. So we think that the industry is moving.
And the most green electronic companies out there?
So far, you mean the companies?
Yes.
So far, the companies, the best are Samsung and also Nokia. They're doing quite good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what should consumers, what do we need to know? Because we buy a lot of gadgets.
Yeah, of course.
If we want to be green, what should we do?
Well, first of all, when you buy a new gadget, you should think twice whether you need it or not. The second thing is you may want to check with the companies whether they have their chemical policies, whether they have the recycling policies. And also you could check with the Greenpeace website and see how they are being ranked.
And also, if I want to buy a new cell phone every 9 months,
this is definitely not a good thing.
Don't do that.
Exactly.
Do you think consumer awareness about this issue of green technology and electronics is getting better?
It's getting better, I think, but of course the problem is still there, so we need to act as fast as we could.
Okay. Thank you very much, Edward.
Thank you.
Now, how we power our lifestyles is a big concern for environmentalists. Now, our next story looks at an unlikely but promising alternative to fossil fuels. Here's Miles O'Brien.
This is where the magic happens.
Glenn Kurtz believes this is the magic bullet alternative to oil. It's pond scum, but without the pond, and that's what sets his idea apart. Kurtz is flowing and growing algae through a long, winding journey in clear plastic bags suspended in a greenhouse. He calls the system vertigrow.
Keeps the algae hanging in the sunlight just long enough to pick up the solar energy they need to produce, the lipids to go through photosynthesis.
The algae grows fast and is siphoned off continuously. The algae oil is extracted, ready to be refined into fuels like biodiesel. Kurtz says he can produce 100,000 gallons of algae oil per acre per year. Compare that to corn, which yields about 20 to 30 gallons an acre. And the vertigrow facility is a long way from the Corn Belt, in the desert near El Paso, the perfect place.
If we took about 1/10 of the state of New Mexico and converted it into algae production alone, okay, we could do all the transportation needs for the United States.
Kurtz and his team are working full throttle, looking for and patenting the ideal algae to make fuels. And who knows, maybe even an energy drink.
Kind of refreshing.
Yeah, that's not bad.
If vertigrow pans out as Kurtz predicts, we may all be raising our glasses to once lowly pond scum. Miles O'Brien, CNN, El Paso, Texas.
And I can't believe he drank the pond scum. Well, go Miles. That is it for this edition of Eco Solutions. For more on these stories and the latest eco innovations worldwide, you can check out our website at cnn.com/ecosolutions. I leave you now with a look at Billboard Magazine's top 3 greenest rockers. At number 3, Mexican rock group Mana. Through their nonprofit organization, the group has been supporting environmental projects since 1994. Their main project is to make environmental ethics courses mandatory in schools throughout Mexico.
So I can feel the rain.
Bio Willie comes in at number 2. Now, Willie Nelson, that is making biofuel to improve one of today's carbon-heavy activities, driving. He's also behind what's called the world's largest green truck stop, which helps him promote biofuel for diesel trucks. And finally, the greenest rocker honor goes to acoustic singer Jack Johnson. With eco-friendly rock tours and a solar-paneled studio, Jack Johnson is trying to live the rock and roll life, but not at the expense of the planet. And I'm going to check out his latest album. And I'm Christy Lou Stout. Thank you for joining us.